All right. Well, I tell you what, I am thrilled to bring in my next guest. By the way, this is a historical moment right now at EDGYTIM.com because my first ever Zoom guest, you know him, you love him, offensive line coach extraordinaire, my friend since, say, about 2010, probably around that time.
Oh, yep. This has been a long time.
Class of 2012, which, by the way, we might get into a little bit. That was one heck of a graduation class you were with.
Yep.
Coming out of Illinois. We'll get into that a little bit later. But, again, committed to Auburn. And the other rare thing about Jordan Diamond, his recruiting process, one of the few kids I can ever remember that I believe made all 5 official visits, right?
Oh, yeah. I definitely did that.
Everybody, Jordan Diamond joining us. And first of all, big fella, how you doing? This is craziness that we've had to take on with this pandemic. And I mean, I know you coach offensive linemen, you work with kids through EFT and you do your stuff. I mean, are you surviving? Are you hanging in there? What have you been up to?
I'm surviving, hanging in there. Really trying to get everybody right who makes contact with me. Trying to do everything the right way. Through this pandemic, it's pretty hard, but it's definitely doable. If I do train a guy, it's either one at a time. It's me and that guy. I got my Lysol, spray all my stuff down, got my hand sanitizer, mask and all that good stuff. So, taking all the precautions that we need, to make it a safe and doable session. So,
we're gonna get into that in a little bit. But one of the main reasons I wanted to talk to you, well, just because I hadn't talked to you in a while, so that's the most important reason of all.
Exactly.
But another reason is a young man that you've been able to work with for a couple of years here, Cameron James out of Simeon, of course. You're coaching at Simeon, a young man that I think you've had for maybe a couple of years at least.
Yeah, I had him. So last year was my full season with him as an offensive lineman. He played tight end for us. I wasn't a fan of the tight end Cameron James. I'm the fan of O-line. Put your hand in the dirt. Let's get rolling, Cameron James. So, last year was first full season with me.
You see, I got to imagine when I first saw him and you first saw him, you just see this big, long, athletic kid and think, wow, this kid's got the look of someone that could develop into something. And where fill us in where he was at when you first got him and what kind of progression has he made in that time to leading up to where obviously he committed this weekend in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
What did he need to work on in your eyes? What was his focus been, and where is he at now as far as the kind of lineman that Minnesota is going to get in Cameron James?
When I first saw him, he was playing basketball a couple years ago, in and out of football, how they do it. I was like, man, once you settle down and focus on this football thing, your life is going to change. 2 years later, he's a Minnesota commit, one of the top guys in Illinois. And that's all credit to his sacrifices and what he made and his commitment to getting better, So as far as development, of course, he was a little raw in the beginning. Still had that mindset of being a kid, basically, because he's always been the youngest, but he's always been the biggest. But, the mindset of, all right, don't hurt another kid has to change. you gotta be that guy. You gotta establish some dominance. And this past season was that confidence booster that he needed to control his own destiny. Of course, he's still finding his way now.
Yep.
He's still finding his way. He's still building confidence, and he's tasting the level that he needs to play at. He's tasting it and he's liking it. So that's the thing I'm excited about. He's liking the fact that he can, dominate other people.
how common is that in big guys where, you know, you see these kids that have been told their whole life because they are the youngest, but they're the biggest probably in their class, you know, oh, don't hurt him or don't hurt him. And you see it a lot. And I
Yeah.
saw that as well with Cameron, because it's like, and Cameron isn't, I mean, honestly, Jordan, the most fired up I've ever talked to him was the other day when he committed. Before that, he's a very kind of very laid back, just kind of very even keel dude. How did that transformation? I mean, did you see it? Was there a specific game or a moment where you maybe saw that light bulb go on and thought, there's the guy I knew that was in there?
Yeah. Once he transitioned over from tight end to tackle, just playing football the right way, some techniques to make his life a lot easier, to make the game slow down. You know, when you transition from another spot, it's moving. You're moving too fast. You want to get there and get slow it down. Let the game come to you. Always be patient, and that's what really happened. There was a lot of patience, and the whole coaching staff had a lot of patience with him. Guy that was working with him the most, I had tons of patience. I had to let him build his confidence, let the game slow down for him, teach him a few techniques that put him in the right position to be successful on the football field. And, he just went out and executed it. He believed in the process. He trusted himself. And he bought into what us coaches, were trying to teach him. And the game slowed down for him. And he's just wrecking people now. It's just unbelievable.
What part of his game's got to get better between now and then eventually when he ends up in Minnesota?
Oh, he definitely has to get stronger. Being that young kid is, I don't know, his testosterone is probably just now popping, to be honest. He was 16 years old playing at a varsity level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Last year. It was crazy. And he was the biggest guy on the field, but he definitely has to get stronger. That's going to come with some time and some hellacious effort in the weight room in the off season, and some mental focus that it ain't gonna happen overnight. He got to really develop his body, his upper half, and once he gets the process of a product part, it's always a process, and conquering the mundane. Getting in there, even when nobody's pushing you, you got to do it on your own sometimes. And he's working on that part. He's gonna eventually get to it.
When you were coming up and you were making a name for yourself, and you finally, I believe you committed, and on signing, I think on National Signing Day, if I'm not mistaken, Auburn.
I committed.
Like
actually, I was one of the later guys. I committed like a week after signing day.
Okay. So you go ahead and you do that, and you go all the way through the process.
Mm-hmm.
So you had all the answers. No one could tell you about anything because you already had the answers coming out of high school. Right. Which I'm joking. Okay, you thought you did. You thought. And Cameron's going to be the same way, like every other young guy. He thinks he's got all the answers. So if Jordan Diamond now could go back to Jordan Diamond and say, I don't know, early 2012, what's the advice? What do you tell younger Jordan Diamond?
What I tell myself, be more patient. Tag a few of my teammates along with the process a little bit more, but also be more, selfish. Not self-centered, but taking care of myself, my body, things of that nature. It's not all about me. It's about really the guys that surround me. But being selfish, meaning taking care of myself, taking care of my body, my mind, my mental, going into committing and going on to play college football. So I think I could have did a way better job doing that.
Working the last couple of years, as I mentioned, working through EFT and training, and then obviously coaching over at Simeon, working with the old linemen. What's maybe one of the most common issues or mistakes that you see out of young linemen? when you get them? What's one of is there a common theme? Is there something that overall, just most linemen, you got to go in and correct right away?
First things first is balance.
Yeah.
The guys just all over the place with their feet, just not balanced up, not distributing that weight properly. That's probably the main thing. That's the first thing I correct when I go out and train a guy is we start off with balance. We do balance drills. We eyes closed, eyes open kind of things. Make sure our mind is in sync with our body before we even do a single step.
Yep.
So that's one thing I try to focus on early on.
Talk about the recruiting process, especially during this pandemic. It's getting earlier and earlier every year. I mean, you look back in your day in 2012. I mean, no one was making this early. I mean, kids are still like a year or two out.
It's unreal because I sometimes talk to the coaches too, and then they freaking out because they got kids committed early. They don't really take their official visits. They just out here just. I'm like, take your time. I'm not sure if the National Signing Day changed or not. Is it still the same thing?
Well, it's still February, but what really changed it? They added an early period in December. And
really?
So that is really given coaches and really more pressure early to commit, and we're seeing it now. Where I think it's like 20 out of the top 30 already in 2021 are verbally committed. What do you tell kids? I mean, is it each situation different? Is it? I mean, what do you advise them? You're working with a lot of these guys. If they ask you, what do you say?
I try to stay away from that. The recruiting part. I can't influence a kid to go to a place because I think it's the right place to go. Yeah. That has to be the kid's choice and go over there with the parents because they're the one, if they commit to a school, they're the one that got to be committed and got to go through that process with the school, for 4 or 5 years. It's not me, I'm like, if you're going to commit, why not take your time and go through the processes, figure out what you really like. I took all 5 visits. I figured out what I really liked, and I made a decision based on what I really like, based on what fits me as a player. I still think it's still rushed. Recruiting is I think is getting way out there. I think players need to focus on becoming better football players, better other than recruiting as much. That's just me as on the outside looking in now.
When did you get so old?
Man, I don't know. You see my hair? I got gray hairs just popping out of nowhere.
You sound like an OG out there, man. You're 2012. You're not that old.
Yeah, no, I feel old because it just changed. Like, it just changed. It's like out of nowhere. When I got out of school, I was like, why are these kids signing in June and stuff like that? I'm like, you're supposed to be playing and ready for camp, ready for the senior season, take care of your senior season, and then, take care of your visits and stuff like that. And the lady, I'm like, that's what I'm used to. But talk to a few coaches, like, man, they got kids signing this and that and that and this. I'm like, oh, wow, man. That sucks to be a college football coach right now. I'm telling you.
It never, dude, it literally never ends. I mean, it's crazy how, you thought those guys were busy before now with this whole new recruiting world. I mean, those assistant coaches. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing because if you're an assistant out there, and we know some guys, some guys, the Arthur Rays of the world and guys that are trying to make it as college assistants, man, it's a rough grind.
It's a rough grind. Eventually I'll branch off into college football coaching. I don't know if I'm gonna skip that process and try to, get a assistant NFL job, start at the bottom and work my way to the top or whatever, however that process works. But, eventually I'll branch off and see what it's like. But as of now, I gotta get whoever shows up in my face, I gotta get that individual together and, put them in the best position to play at their peak. So
is that the goal? Is that the goal for you? Do you have a specific kind of where you want to be in 5 years? Is it, I know obviously involved in football and coaching, but is there a set goal for you right now, or are you just trying to figure it out?
Within the next, couple, 2 or 3 years, I'll be looking to, probably advance my coaching, advance my teachings, get around a few more, like-minded individuals to take, the whole experience of coaching to the next level. So, I'll be looking to be branching off the next few years. It depends on, how things go here. So
You got maybe a new appreciation for a guy like Dante Cole now that you're coaching at the high school level?
Yeah. Coach Dante, that's my guy.
Yep.
That's my guy. I go through a wall for him. Been like that for a long time. I'm trying to take some pressure off him, to be honest. Him and Coach Carl Williams, and those are two offensive coaches, and I'm there to take a piece that I know the most and get that group ready. And then help out with everything else. I'm just a spoke on a wheel right now, trying to get everything together.
Just watching the job that he's done over the years and the resources you have, or in most cases in the public league, I should say, what you don't have. I mean, are you amazed at times how he's been able to pull it off over the years?
Yeah, this has been amazing. It's been amazing with the lack of resources. It's crazy. It's real crazy. We had a lot of talent. As coaches, we sit back and we still have to figure out a way to, get better as coaches, as individuals, as coaches. We still have to find a way to put ourselves over the hump. With some youth coming in and coaching with them, and things like that. Maybe we gonna, find better ways to get better ways to utilize what we have, getting new things in and taking old things out. That's what part of the reason why I'm, back at Simeon trying to, win that luxury state championship that we always, preach. But we got to take it one week at a time, one practice at a time, one workout at a time, and we got to get better, as coaches. But of course, in the past, he's done a pretty good job. Excel with some talent, been far, deep, made some deep runs. Had a couple close calls at the end, and never know what could have happened. But of course, he's done a pretty good job. I'm just here to help out, lend a hand, to spread my knowledge, and just iron sharpens iron.
Before I cut you loose, first of all, if there's kids out there that are looking for help, linemen that are looking for help, it's the best way to get a hold of you.
You can call me, text me, send me a.
What's your Twitter?
Twitter is Jordan76 Simeon or CM #76.
That's the one I know.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can follow me on Twitter. You can text me 773-457-4510. That's my cell. You can always reach out to me. Hit me up on Twitter. You can see what I do. Sometimes I post my videos up there.
Yep.
You can go through them, scroll through them, see the guys that I work with, see their developments, see how far they came. I'm easy to talk to, easy to get a hold of. So
easy to find in a crowd too. So
yeah, the biggest guy in the crowd.
Yep.
Is trying not to be the biggest guy in the crowd. So
well, Mr. 4-star ranked class of 2012, and again, going down memory lane just a little bit. So we talked about the 2012 class in Illinois that year. So I'm taking a look at this, and I'm thinking, dude, this is a pretty good signing class. So
yeah,
here's the top 10. I'll give you the top 10 or so. So okay. Tommy Shutt from Glenbard West ended up being number 1. I know he went on to Ohio State, had a nice career at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Dan Voltz out of Barrington and up at Wisconsin. I know he had a pretty long career playing for the Badgers.
Yeah.
Jaleel Johnson, a D lineman who I believe is in the NFL, went to Iowa.
He's in Minnesota right now. Right.
Yeah. Also, I mean, here's another one. Antonio Morrison went on the Florida guy. Still in the NFL, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at some of these names up and down the line. I mean, Tevin Coleman, number 12. You know, he's done okay for himself.
Yep.
What a great class. I mean, you know, you look at guys like, you know, Dean Lowry was at Northwestern. He's in the Packers. You know, Dan Feeney out of Sandburg. He was in the top 25. He's been in the NFL. No slouches in that signing class, pal. That was one heck of a group.
Yeah, we had a heck of a group, and none of them committed early.
They didn't commit after their sophomore year? Come on, man.
Exactly, man. It's crazy stuff, man. Me and Tommy actually went on the same Ohio State visit.
Did you?
Yeah, we did. I knew he was going there from the jump, but you know, but he was a pretty good player too, man.
Yeah.
Good guys in the group. You know, I still stay in contact with Jaleel. He's a real good guy. He's playing lights out right now. It's crazy.
You and Shutt at a buffet on a visit? I don't want to go near that, man. There's no.
You don't want to, man. It's not a good scene.
Well, my friend, you are the best. Look forward to seeing you once this nonsense is over with and we can get back to work. And nothing better than seeing you out there doing what you love to do.
All right, I appreciate your time. Thank you. I really do appreciate it.
All right, Jordan Diamond, everybody, go hit him up on Twitter. And you need help, you're a lineman. Jordan's definitely one of the guys you want to get a hold of.